for me and my family. How do I establish an everlasting covenant for me and my family? Listen to me. I've said so much about the definition of covenant, but I want to give you an opportunity to know or to understand that God has left us with a choice to make or to establish an everlasting covenant. Lasting covenant, a covenant that will last forever. For you, not only ending with you, but a covenant that will extend to your children and your children's children. Are you hearing me? That's the place of covenant. The covenant didn't end with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Are you with me? We also are privileged to have the opportunity to do certain things so that we can enjoy the place of establishing a covenant. If you go to verse 9, and God said unto Abraham, thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore thou and thy seed after thee in their generations. He was cutting a covenant of posterity with Abraham. A covenant of posterity. He was establishing the fact that as long as heaven lives, he has a covenant with Abraham. Every seed that comes out of Abraham is under covenant. What propelled that covenant? What propelled that covenant? What enacted that covenant? Number one thing that enacted the covenant between God and Abraham was the covenant of separation. Was the act of separation. Act of separation. The act of separation. What gave Abraham access to the place of covenant with God? The act of separation. If you must be a covenant son, a covenant daughter, then you must be separated for the master's use. You must establish the fact that you are not an ordinary person. You must establish the fact that you are separated for the work of the master. You must establish the fact that you are sold out for his work. Are you hearing me? Genesis chapter 12. That is where the journey started. From verse 1. And now the Lord has said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. If you must be different, then you must get out. If you must be different, then you must be separated. Are you with me? Am I communicating to someone? All of them in his father's house. In his father's house. In verse 20 and 21, the Bible says, and Enoch walked with God and was not, for God translated him. God took him. He never saw death. He did something different. He was separated. Don't live a common life in a common generation. Live a separated life. Live the life that pleases God. Live the life that is sold out to the Father. Are you with me? Now, I want to show you something. There's something that caught my attention and I want to go through it. Matthew chapter 1. Brighten that camera. Or you brighten your lights. Matthew chapter 1 from verse 1. The book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Abba, where are the others? Where are the others? There's a 14th generation between, go back. Go back. There's 14th generation between Jesus Christ and David. There's another 14th generation between David and Abraham. Where are the names of the others that their name disappeared and it became Jesus, the son of David? He said, thou shalt inherit the throne of your father, David. Does it mean nobody else sat on the throne? But Saul sat on the throne. Solomon sat on the throne. So many kings sat on the throne. But it became the throne of David because David was different. David was separated. He found him with his holy oil. He separated him for the master's use. I am not living a life for myself. I'm living a life for the posterity of the generation that is coming after me. Live with that consciousness so that you won't treat God carelessly, so that you won't serve God carelessly. Serve God with the consciousness that the life you live is a covenant to your children. No matter the journey of my son, he must return to the altar. Because I am a son of the altar. And he must be on the altar. He has no choice. He has no choice. Whether God called him or God didn't call him, by covenant he's been called. It's not an error. Because anyone that came out of my bosom came out of covenant. It wasn't a mistake when they named me Silas. I don't know what came upon them, but they were under divine influence to submit me to the mission of heaven. Even when they knew it not. Listen to me. The Bible says lines are falling onto me in pleasant places. When you are a child of covenant, it doesn't matter the journey you went, you'll be located. When the fullness of time came, David was in the bush. The oil went looking for him. He said, the scepter shall not depart from the Judah, neither the son of, neither the Genesis 49, 10 verse 11 or so. Voila, let's go on. Hear me, child of God. No matter what happened, if there is a calling upon your life, no matter what happened, I tell you, God will separate you at the fullness of time. He calls him the son of David. He calls him the son of Abraham. Why? Because of the mandate of separation that was upon Abraham. The mandate of separation. The mandate of separation. Get thee out of your father's house, out of your country. Please cross. Come and see this television, then you approve of what I'm saying. If the 4 cameras are not working, can you please change to the other cameras? The Sony cameras. Can't be projecting this rubbish to the world to see. Are you hearing me? Separation. Number 2, what made Abraham Abraham was the act of obedience. Look at Genesis chapter 12. What made Abraham Abraham was the act of obedience. You see, men that don't question authority, they don't question God, they don't ask reasons. Once God speaks, they obey. Truth. They are men that cut covenant easily with God. They catch the attention of God. He told Abraham, give me your son, your only son, whom thou lovest. In fact, he added, give me your son, your only son, whom thou lovest, because there is one that thou didn't lovest. So that you will not go and catch Ishmael and be bringing to me. Whom thou lovest. Whom thou lovest. And Abraham said to the servant, stay here while we go to worship. He called it an act of worship. An act of worship. He calls it an act of worship. Went, deliver the child. Lay the child on the altar. Never question God that you say you will make me a father of many nations. How come you are taking the only one you have given to me? The other one you asked me to drive him away. I've driven him away. This one that you say is mine. Now this very particular one you want to kill him. What made Abraham Abraham? I'm talking about what made Abraham establish a covenant with God. Number 1 is separation. Number 2 is obedience. Obedience without questioning. Put that one, write that one down. Because there are obedience that need explanation. That they will be asking you, Daddy, you said I should give the first fruit. I want to ask. Please, don't be angry. I just want to ask. If I give the first fruit now, what of the school fees? And what of the house rent? What are we going to eat before the end of the month? What were you eating before the job came? No, tell me. When you didn't have, it was last month you didn't have job. Suddenly you forgot how you were feeding when last month ended. If you did not die last month, how can you die now that you know you are laying it at the feet of God? You see, at the end of the day, you end up giving the first fruit. It's not received. Because you question the authority of it. Pastor, please, I want to ask a question. Can I split my tithe into 2? I will pay one now. I will pay one next month. Because right now, the school fees or what I am doing, the project I am doing. No, I am preparing. Can I please pay it later? You see, when you question God over his word, just to play smart, you had already lowered the stage for the covenant. You have lowered it. And so God will not see you as a child of covenant. Are you with me? Number 3, what made Abraham to establish a covenant with Jehovah is the place of sacrifice. Is the place of sacrifice. Gather my sense together. Now I am taking Abraham as an entity to make you learn from his life so that you can establish a covenant with God. You know, the place of sacrifice. If you look at the life of Job, he said anytime his children go to party, as they return, he lifts an altar of sacrifice on behalf of his children. Peradventure, any one of them have sinned against God. The altar of sacrifice can bring you to the place of covenant. Then what make Abraham, number 3, number 4, is the place of recognizing God as the Almighty, the owner of all. He said, my hands have I lifted unto the Lord. I will not receive anything from you, lest you say you make Abraham rich. He's been able to recognize that God is the Almighty. He is the owner of all, and he submits to the Lordship of the Almighty. So the place of submitting to the Lordship of the Almighty, you can put that in bracket. Recognizing that God is the author of all, he's the owner of all, and also submitting to the authority of the Almighty. Are you with me? Did you get what I just said? That's what makes Abraham, Abraham. If you look at the book of Genesis chapter 14, you can find that from verse 17. And the king of Sodom went out and met him after his return from the slaughter of the Chedorlaomer and of the king that were with him at the valley of Shaveh, which is the king's dale. Then verse 18. And Melchizedek, the king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. Then verse 19. And he blessed him and said, Abraham, and blessed him, be Abraham, the most of the Most High God, the possessor of heaven and earth. Then give me the next verse. And blessed be the Most High God, which had delivered thy enemies into the hand, and he gave him tithe of all. Then verse 21. And the king of Sodom said unto Abraham, give me the presents and take the goods to thyself. Then verse 22. And Abraham said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up my hand unto the Lord, the Most High God, the possessor of heaven and earth. Then verse 23. That I will not take from thee a thread, even to a shoe latchet, and that I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou sayest, thou make Abraham rich. How many men will beat their chest to that kind of confession? Then number 5. And number 5. What made Abraham, Abraham? is the covenant of giving God his portion. It's the covenant of giving God his portion. It's the covenant of giving God his portion. You see, you don't know how serious tithing is until you calm down, mellow down, and forget about money. Forget about money. Because you think money, once you hear tithing, money is one thing that comes to your mind. No. Let me tell you the law of tithing. Let me tell you the law of tithing. The law of tithing is called the law of returns. The law of tithing is also called the law of recognizing the source. You see, let me tell you, if, for instance, Pastor Steve here is my source, after he has given me everything, and I begin to feel that I